Welcome back, everybody, to Geek Tech Live. This is Chris, your host, and this is actually Season 6. I did a little bit of math while I was off and recompiling some new things, and this is actually turning out to be Season 6. We've been doing this for 6 years now, doing the originally audio podcast. Now, obviously, you're listening to me as well as able to watch me on YouTube and Blip TV, as well as the Geek Tech Live website itself. So, welcome back to Season 6, and let's just go ahead and jump right on into, let's talk about the Satechi, I guess you'd call it an external battery pack. So, without further ado, the Satechi external battery pack. Well, if you're like me, and you probably are, at least to some degree, I have not gone out and I have not drank the Kool-Aid for an iPhone 5 yet. I still have an iPhone 4. I don't even have an iPhone 4S. So I have no idea exactly how crappy Siri really is, other than from what my friends tell me. So, other than that, I still have the iPhone 4, and I have a whole bunch of other devices that, like you, all have essentially rechargeable batteries inside them. Well, at a certain point, there's sort of the planned obsolescence, I guess the best way of putting it. And if you don't want to give up your device and shell out a whole crap ton more of money, and especially in my case for iPhone 5, if I was going to go and do that, I'm looking at another 2-year contract. Well, I don't live anywhere that actually has LTE yet, so there's really not a huge, big, at least for me, draw to iPhone 5. And because of that, my iPhone 4, essentially if I use it for, let's just go ahead and say 30 seconds, I lose about 50% of the battery because, well, I've been using it a lot for the last 2 years and some months inside of there. So I went out and started looking for some things to see if I can help me expand on my battery coverage and how much I can actually expand the battery usage. And one of the things I came up with was a Satechi. Now, you can see it here. It's pretty small. It's actually a little bit bigger than an iPhone. It's definitely a lot thicker than an iPhone. It's almost like what the iPhone could have been Generation 0. It's a big black monolith style device. It's got Satechi on the front. And the unique sort of thing about the Satechi is the fact that it's not just iPhone specific. This is something for everybody out there. Android, iPhone lovers, Kindle Fire, anything that plugs into a USB and gets its charge from a USB or can, you could actually use the Satechi for. So what is this? It's basically a big battery, and the battery essentially is encased in a big plastic shell. It has some, basically, it's really simple. It's got a button on the side. It's a power button. You press and hold it, and when you press and hold it, you'll see these little lights. You might be able to see that, I'm not sure, but there's some little lights. If you're watching this show, you can see the lights kind of turn on and kind of go through their little thing. Well, that's just telling you how much battery power you actually have. And I've tested this actually just to see how long it'll hold a charge without any usage of it whatsoever. The Satechi will, and I'm probably completely mispronouncing it, but it's S-A-T-E-C-H-I. I don't know. Either way, it holds its charge for, I want to say it was almost 3 weeks, and I didn't really lose even a full bar on the device itself. So it's something you can charge up, set aside, and use in an emergency situation. Now, the reason why I got this was twofold. Like I told you, I have an iPhone 4 and it's not holding a charge. Well, just recently, and some of you who are on my Facebook page or actually even recently on Geek Tech Live, you've noticed I put some photography up that I'm a sort of an amateur photographer. I take some pictures. I'm trying to sell some. But part of that was a small trip I made to DC. Well, as part of that trip to DC, I got to walk around downtown. So one of our friends that lives out there, he had to work that day, and he said, why don't you go ahead and commute in with me? So other than the fact that Washington, D.C. commutes suck. Just, I'm sorry if you live there, but wow. I mean, they're not as bad as like LA or any of the really large cities, but still bad. Bad, bad, bad. But once I got in, I could walk around and take pictures. My plan was to take my backpack, take all my camera gear, take a whole bunch of pictures. And I figured in a large metropolitan area, there's definitely chances of getting Wi-Fi. There's definitely chances of using my iPhone as well to take a few shots and either upload them or do that type of thing. I got about halfway through the day. I had to make a couple of phone calls, and when I was done with the phone calls, I realized that I was down to 20% battery power. Well, that's halfway through the day. By the time I actually got back to the Starbucks at the end of the day, I had 5%, and I was able to send one last text out to my friend basically saying, this is where I am, my phone is going to die, I have no chance of getting battery power or getting anything, and I'm in a city that I don't necessarily know my way around or know if I can find an Apple store nearby or a place where I could even plug in my phone. So I was in a sort of a situation, if you will, and luckily that last text got out. They got to my friend, and they were able to find me at the Starbucks. I was about a block and a half away from where they had originally dropped me off. So I didn't want that to happen again. And if you are even possibly able to get into that type of a situation, something like the Satechi or this sort of device is something you definitely want to look at. On Amazon, you can pick up this device. It's the 10,000. Basically does PDAs. Wow, if you haven't guessed, gray hair. I'm old. I actually just called something a PDA. It basically does tablets as well as phones and pretty much anything else, like I said, that you can plug in there. It has a 1 amp and a 2 amp output on the downside here. So 5 volt 2 amp and 5 volt 1 amp USB outs on this side. It has a micro USB 5 volt 2 amp in right above the power button right there. And it doesn't take that long to really charge it up. It took a couple of hours to take it from essentially empty charge to full charge. But like I said, once it was fully charged, I was able to basically keep it fully charged for almost 3 weeks without using it. It did take my iPhone up to a full charge in approximately about an hour or so. You can plug it in and actually just run off of this if you want to. It's essentially just a big battery. So why is this a good idea? Why do you want to do something like this? Well, I'm glad you asked. This little device is a must for anybody who has essentially cell phones, Kindles, tablets, pretty much anything that plugs in via USB and you need to charge up. This is a must for you. If you go anywhere, if you travel, anybody who travels, just pick one of these up. Even if you're going to be the early adopter, latest and greatest, person sitting in line for the new iPhone. By the way, the new iPhone, it has the actual headphone jack is on the bottom. I know, crazy. But either way, if you're going to be an early adopter, you're going to be someone like me who is just kind of like meh about the new iPhone 5, especially when I have to do a whole contract and everything. Anything like that, and you have a possibility that you're going to be out and about and nowhere near any electrical outlet or ability to plug in, get one of these. And the reason why I'm saying get one of these, and the reason why I'm saying everybody that's listening to me can get one of these, it's about 60 bucks for this one on Amazon right now. And this one does, like I said, the tablets. It has the 2 amp out. If you don't need that, they make one that just does 1 amp out. It's considerably smaller than this, and it's only 40 some bucks. So go to Amazon, do a search for Satechi, and look for like the Satechi battery pack. I'll throw some links into the actual show notes so you can actually click on them and just take a look at them. But I also would like to say that Satechi did not send this to me or give this to me. I didn't make any money off of it, nor if you go buy them, will I make any money off any of your purchases. I basically bought this for me, and I think it's a really good idea, and I think it's a really useful little tool. So as you can tell from, if you're watching this program, I'm throwing up pictures basically over this way. So if you're looking at any of those pictures and little close-ups of the Satechi while I've been talking, you can see it's got a lot of really cool and interesting things that you can do with it. It's very versatile for the simplicity of this device. 2 USBs on top to plug stuff in, 1 USB to charge it on the back side, and 1 on-off button. It's super simple. Nobody can mess this up. And the battery pack itself so far has lasted for, like I said, 3 weeks, sitting on a full charge, not actually draining it. So, you have an old iPhone, you have an old phone, you have an old anything that needs to get recharged in a jiffy or recharged in, let's just say, you know, a difficult situation. You're in the middle of a city like I was, you had no place to plug something in, you didn't even have your plugs with you, so you needed to have something that you could plug in the USB to. This is your device. For the cheapness of it, there's other ones out there that are cheaper, there's other ones out there that are slimmer and thinner and nicer looking, maybe, you know that they're going to be a little bit more compact and portable than this. It's a little heavy, it weighs probably about a pound or so. But this guy actually will last a lot longer from what I've done research-wise and what I've noticed myself in real-world usage. So again, the Satechi gives me a big thumbs up, and I hope this saves you so that you're not stuck in the middle of a city with your iPhone or with your Android phone or with your camera or your tablet or even with your PDA, and you run out of battery power and you can't make that emergency phone call or text to your friend. I hope this actually saves you, and I hope it saves you a little bit of time and headache as well. So, that's pretty much it for my review. I've kind of rambled on about essentially something that's got 2 plugs and a button, and is essentially a big battery in a plastic case. So not a lot to say about this other than the fact that it's nice, it's good, and it's cheap. It's 60 bucks, like I said. Just go out and buy one. It'll save you. It will, trust me, it will save you in a pinch. And just take it whenever you go out and you know you're going to be away from a electrical cord for a while. So it's an awesome device. I really, really like it. I hope you do too. Take a look at it. Let me know what you think. And I will talk to you all again very, very soon. Well, that's it for this first installment in Season 6 of Geek Tech Live. This has been the discussion about the Satechi battery pack for pretty much any USB device. It's 10,000 milliamps. Input voltage is 5 volts. Input current is 2,000 milliamps, or 2 amps. Output voltage is 5 volts. Output current is 1,000 milliamps, or 1 amp. Output voltage is also 5 volts at 2 amps. The product size is approximately 144 by 55 by 18.5 millimeters. So that should give you a pretty decent idea of approximately the size and everything of it as well. But again, like I said, this is Chris for Geek Tech Live. I appreciate everybody who is listening and basically chiming in on the Facebook page, everybody who's friended me. I appreciate everything. Don't forget, I have been tweeting like a madman about all my new photography that's been up. You can go to geektechlive.smugmug.com. I'm running this as a test, and so far, it's actually paying off. So the idea is I'm running my SmugMug account as a pro account, so you can buy photos that I've taken, and all the proceeds from that will go back into keeping the SmugMug account basically active. So I appreciate that, and so far it's actually been paying for itself. So everybody who's out there who's bought some photos from me, I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's keep it going. Let's see if we can do this for a whole year. I hope we can. Until next time, this is Chris for Geek Tech Live. I'll talk to you all real soon.